Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of JoeScentMe. My name is Joe and I am your host for today. Today I have a very special guest with me all the way from the UK. I have Chris from FRAGMENTAL.
Hi everybody, nice to be here. Joe, just hearing you introduce the video like that sent a little shiver down my spine. I've watched so many of your videos and to suddenly be in a video that you're saying the intro on is pretty amazing.
Absolutely. It feels very special when I was on your video as well. So it's so cool to be a part of this and to do this collaboration, and I appreciate you so much, just our friendship and everything that we've learned about each other's fragrance preferences and things like that. I really appreciate that. So thank you for being a part of this video.
No, and well, thank you, Joe, because before I was making YouTube videos, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos of fragrance reviews, and yours was a channel that I was watching. So all those videos in the lead up to me deciding to do my channel inspired me in some way to start my own channel. So you've been a little bit of an inspiration to me as well. So it's an honor to be here.
Well, Chris, thank you so much. You're actually one of my inspirations now as well, because you're quite the success story here on YouTube. I mean, you have an amazing amount of subscribers already. You have an amazing quality of video production, and even the way you present yourself on camera. I wish I could be half as good as you. I mean, you are quite an amazing guy. So
you know how to flatter a guy, Joe.
Well, so what are we going to talk about today? Well, we have 10 amazing ouds to show you. I have 5 on my side and 5 on Chris's side. So, because Chris is the guest, let's let him tell you about the first oud in our collection here.
Okay, well, yeah, first off, I've got 5 lovely ouds to talk to you about today, but I don't have nearly as many ouds in my collection as Joe. I think no one has as many fragrances in their collection as Joe, but I think I've picked some really nice ones for you here, and I'm going to begin with the first one, which is from Nasomatto. I have 2 from Nasomatto, and this is the beautiful and sultry Black Afghano. So as well as the oud, there's a fairly prominent cannabis note in this, which before I smelled this, I'd never smelled cannabis in a fragrance. I didn't even know people put cannabis notes in fragrances, so I wasn't quite sure what it would smell like, but it actually gives it a lovely quality. There's also some coffee in here as well, and a little bit of tobacco, so it's just packed, jam-packed full of notes that I really enjoy. It's bold, it's sultry, it's sexy and alluring at the same time. Again, this is one of those fragrances that I wouldn't wear all the time, but when I do wear, it just makes me feel great and brimming with confidence. Are you a fan of Black Afghano, Joe?
I am. In fact, the first time I ever experienced Black Afghano was back before Nasomatto had the wooden caps. They actually had used head statues for their caps.
Okay.
And I remember I was at Harrods, and they had told me, hey, if you like really strong fragrances, you've got to try this. And at that time, I've never heard of Nasomatto. Nasomatto actually means crazy nose in Italian. So believe it or not, I was thinking, gosh, how can something be so crazy? Well, that was the first fragrance they showed me, and I was like, sold immediately.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it just draws you in, doesn't it? And I believe Alessandro Guttieri is the perfumer for all of them. They are extracts, and they come in these gorgeous, sexy little 30 ml bottles. So even though they are on the pricey side, I think in the UK you're looking at about £120 for this 30 ml extract. Right. But you don't need to spray much of them, so they will last you.
Absolutely. Little goes a long way.
Absolutely.
So, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, that's a great way to start the show. That's a fantastic one. First thing on my list is Bortnikov's Mysterious Oud. This is from his first collection. You may or may have not have heard of Bortnikov. So the fragrance brand is, if you've heard of Arige Ladore, that fragrance brand, well, the 2 guys are actually partners in the Feel Oud brand, which is they source their own oud oils and things like that. So Bortnikov is the other partner of Arish Ladore, or Russian Atom. So you might have heard of that. So when I found out that Bortnikov was partners with this person as far as the sourcing of their oud, I knew immediately that this oud was going to be amazing. So I took a risk. I blind bought this one, and I was not disappointed. This is from his first collection, and it comes in a 50 ml. It is an extrait de parfum, so a little goes a long way. Sells for $290 US, and the fragrance is bergamot, cardamom, amber, orange, tea rose, jasmine, cinnamon, clove, myrrh, castoreum, pink pepper, nutmeg, tonka, oud, sandalwood, tolu balsam, apopanax, cedar, lotus, labdanum, and vanilla. Crazy amount of stuff goes into making this.
That sounds complex.
Oh, it is. And I have it sprayed on a card. This whole room smells amazing. And as you can see by the card, it's already tainted yellow or brown. And it's very rich. It's very deep. It's not a funky or skunky oud at all, but it is rich and deep. And you really get the balsamic. The apopanax is like one of my new favorite notes, by the way, which is sweet myrrh. But you get all of that, and it's just very robust. This is a fall-winter scent, guys. So I highly recommend it if you haven't tried it. He is running low on this, by the way. He just posted. He is running very low on this, and he might even be sold out by the time you see this video. So hurry up and get it while you can. It is amazing. It's a collector's piece indeed. Off to your next one, my friend.
Okay, well, Joe, trust you to have the cheapest fragrance on a list that costs $290. Only you. Well, I'm gonna completely contrast that, because the cheapest oud on my list is going to bring up the average cost of this whole list crashing down. So this one is one of the first fragrances I got when I started getting more into buying fragrances. And I don't know if you've heard of this one. It's by Ardal Zafran, and it's Oud 24 Hours. Now this one is extremely similar to Tom Ford's Black Orchid.
Oh.
As with a few of these companies, it's not marketed to be a clone,
Sure.
but it is, you know, like the Armaths and the Al Haramains, but it is very, very close. So I think it was probably the intention to get close to Black Orchid. So as with Black Orchid, you get the patchouli, you get the fruits and the chocolate. I think it's not quite as an earthy patchouli as Tom Ford's Black Orchid, so it is a little bit different. It is doing its own thing. But when I smell this, wow, it just takes me back to because I was really at the point where I was discovering so many different notes and different scent profiles, and it was just this onslaught of discovery, really. That has settled down somewhat now, because the more I've experienced, the more profiles you recognise and the more notes you recognise. But the first time I smelled this, as with things like Enigma, the first time I smelled that, it whisked me away. And this just transports me right back to that exciting time where I was just discovering all these new things. This, talking about the price, I got this for only £12 on eBay, including shipping.
Yes.
I have heard people say they've got it for even less than that, for about £10.
Wow.
It's 100ml. It smells great quality. It does not smell cheap or synthetic. It smells nice and natural. There is not really going to be a better bargain for an oud on the market. And as with Black Orchid, I can't remember if oud is a listed note in Black Orchid or not, or whether this is just a name, but it's called Oud 24 Hours, so I thought it could go in the oud list. But oud is definitely not a prominent note in this, if there is any in it at all.
Yeah.
But I wanted to throw it in there because it's quite a special one to me, and I love it.
That sounds like a hit. You know, for me, I don't want people to think that I have to buy the most expensive thing to get the most amount of pleasure out of it, or to associate the expensive thing with you know, the quality of the smell. Sometimes some of the gems, in fact I have many gems in my collection, that will shock you at how affordable they are. And you're like, oh, that was only $50? That was only $20? Really? And that's cool. I have no problem
Joe,
with that.
we need to see a budget fragrances video from you. We need to see like the cheapest that you own, the top 10 cheapest in your collection.
That will be a future collaboration. We'll get together on that one.
Okay.
So for sure.
Brilliant. Let's do it.
So let's go on with the next one, folks. All right. So this next one, I'm going to introduce this one a little differently because, again, some people may have not heard of this brand. Maybe you have. If you are an oud aficionado like me, and you know the world supply of oud comes from several great places in the Middle East and Asia, one of the highest quality suppliers of oud comes from the brand of Tsar. And Tsar has an amazing oud. This is their first spray perfume. And this one is called Tsar Number 1. You can see he has the E there and number 1. Number 1. And this comes in a beautiful leather jacket. It is leather. It's hand-stitched leather jacket. It is a 50 ml EDP. And the notes for this are just rose, oud, leather, tobacco, and tea. So I have sprayed a card here so I can just be reminded of how beautiful this is. The liquid is dark, so I just want to prepare you for that. And you definitely get the oud and the leather. The rose is in there to help lift the fragrance up a little bit, but you get the oud and the leather. This sells, by the way, for $395, and it's available at Lucky Scent. But the rose and the leather is there. Tobacco and tea are subtle. This is a little bit on the, this is a darker oud. It is a touch more animalic than the previous oud that I mentioned. And I would say this is sort of on the medium to mid-level, high level as far as the experience you're going to need to wear this oud. However, those of you who know, Tsar is one of the leading suppliers of oud, and his ouds are actually in other brands' fragrances, even if you don't even know that. But his ouds are featured in, like, people buy his oud oil and use it in their fragrances. So they source his oud and use it in their fragrances. That's how good this guy's oud crop is. So kudos to Tsar. I really love his stuff. I can't wait to try more of his fragrances.
I've not tried it, and I'm very, very interested to try some from Tsar. And I think those bottles look beautiful, don't they? Really, really nice.
They really, really are. So, all right, Chris, tell me what you got. What you got for me?
So my next oud is another not very oudy oud scent. It is. It needs no introduction. Most people into fragrances will know this. It's Tom Ford's Oud Wood. So yeah, it's a lovely, refined, elegant scent. There's some rosewood, vetiver, and again, this was one that I smelled early on in my discovery of kind of more high-end or niche fragrances. And this was at an airport in Portugal, and a friend of mine had this one, and he was telling me how good it was. And I was thinking, well, you know, all right, a fragrance is a fragrance. How good can a fragrance be? And I smelled this one. I remember spraying it on my wrist, and I couldn't stop smelling it. I was on the aeroplane all the way back to the UK from Portugal, and I just could not stop smelling my wrist. It was so intoxicating. Gorgeous vanilla-y type, dry down. The oud is barely detectable, if at all. It must be there as a supporting note in the composition, but it's a lovely, smooth, elegant composition. It's not a beast performer at all, but the longevity I find is pretty good. It's quite a soft projection, but I haven't really come across any other scents that there is one actually from is it Tamim carved oud? That's the only other one that smells similar to this. So I think the scent profile is quite unique. One of my favourites from the private blend, along with Tobacco Oud, Tuscan Leather. I really enjoy a lot from the private blend, but Oud Wood is a real beauty.
That's one that I don't have yet in my collection, and I do hope to have at some point.
Yeah, and you should do, Joe, because has your wife ever smelled Oud Wood?
I believe I showed it to her. I sometimes like to spray it and not tell her what it is until afterwards, because she's now kind of learned that there's certain words in fragrances she won't, she's a little bit like, oh, I want to be immediately turned off if it's, because oud with her is hit or miss. I was actually surprised that I was able to get her to smell some of my more funkier ouds and have her say that she's really cool with that. So that's I was quite surprised.
Well, get some oud wood, because I hear quite a lot that oud wood makes the ladies a little weak at the knees when a guy is wearing it. So who doesn't want that effect?
Well, oud wood, fantastic fragrance. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm definitely going to get that. Absolutely going to get that, and it's going to be part of my collection. I'm still torn though, because you mentioned carved oud by Tamine, and Tamine is another house I've been meaning to explore, and I know that carved oud is on my radar as well. So I don't want to keep too many redundant ones in my collection, so I'm going to be torn between the two. So this next fragrance is from a wonderful perfumer. I got a chance to meet her at Essence. Her name is Pizzara, and she is from the house of Dusita in Paris. This one is Oud Infini. The first time I heard about this fragrance, I was watching one of Jeremy's videos, and he was talking about the most nuclear, most potent ouds out there, and this was listed as #1 on his list. So, of course, I had to find out for myself how crazy this thing is. So here's the bottle right here. It's a fantastic oud, by the way. Again, if you are not an experienced oud wearer, I don't recommend this for you. I'm just going to tell you straight up. If you're not experienced, this is not your first oud. Make sure you are fully experienced. You will need to sign a disclosure before you buy this. It's kind of like eating the hottest hot sauce. This is a funky oud, guys. It really is. But the thing that I love the most about this is when Pizzara sprayed me with this and she smelled it on my arm, she said it smelled so good on me. And so she wasn't just trying to tell me that so I could buy a bottle. She really meant it. And so I ended up getting a bottle, and she even signed the back for me here. So this will become treasure for me. Now, by the way, you can find this at Lucky Scent for $465. It is 50 ml. It is extrait de parfum. It does come in a beautiful lacquer box. So it's so worth it. This has got Laotian oud in it, rose de mai. It's got orange blossom, benzoin, sandalwood, vanilla, musk, and civet. So the civet combined with that Laotian oud makes it funky, guys. Funky. So just be prepared. It's not my first Fisher Price oud, okay? So, going back to you, Chris, what have you got for me?
All right, I'm going to go with my favourite from the House of the Zoologist, and it's the very exotic smelling Camel. I look at the colour of this juice. I remember I first got this, and I sprayed it, and I thought, oh my god, I think I've made a bad blind buy, because I did blind buy it, and then after about 5 minutes, I was smelling it again, and again, blew me away, swept me away. I was so pleased I'd picked it up. Love the gorgeous dried dates accord and dried fruits accord. You get exotic spices. It reminds me of going to a Middle Eastern exotic spice market. It's got a little bit of an animalic accord, perhaps provided by the oud. It's not a strong stanky oud in here at all, but it's just providing some muscularity to the fragrance. Camel is just a beautifully intoxicating unisex fragrance. I feel like when I wear this, again, I feel like it's got a great masculinity to it, but I've smelt, I think my mum sprayed this on, and it just smelt so good coming off a female as well. Camel is exquisite juice, highly recommended.
Well, that's a fantastic one. I actually have Camel myself, and I am in love with it. And I knew, in fact, this is funny. Talking to Victor, I was like, I want to guess what animals are coming next. Camel was one of them I guessed, and everything I was hoping that camel would be, camel was. So I'm really excited that it came out, and I'm excited that it's as great as I imagined it would be.
Yeah, and of course, I didn't mention that an incense backbone running all the way through camel as well just helps it to become so intoxicating.
Absolutely, yeah. It kind of makes you feel like that area that it's from, which is great. They have a way to transport you there. So absolutely. So my next fragrance is one that I've been wanting to try for a very, very long time. This brand is one that I've been seeing, I've been hearing about it, sort of, here and there. It's kind of like it comes and goes kind of thing. And I finally got my nose on it, and I got the privilege of actually trying out everything that they make. And that company is called Strange Love New York. And the fragrance is called Dead of Night. And guys, this is an amazing oud. As far as the oud goes, when it comes to this oud, this is a medium level. So medium level wearer. So you have to be an intermediate kind of wearer. There is a funkiness to it, but nowhere near the Dusita funk. But there is a funkiness to this. One of the coolest things about the folks at Strange Love is they actually grow their own trees for their oud creation. So they believe in doing a sustainable crop of their own trees for oud, and they use different trees. They don't use agar wood. They use different trees to create oud, which is really interesting, but yet you still get the funk. So what an amazing house, by the way. So let me give my card a reminder here, because I sprayed it on a card in advance. So yes, it's one that I fell in love with. I only had the oil. It is available as an oil, or it's available as a spray, and it comes in 50 and 100 ml. This is the 100 ml, guys, and I hope you're sitting down. It's $795, but a little bit goes a long way, because after all, it is oud. This is an EDP, and the notes for this are bergamot, violet leaf, jasmine, rose, amber, sandalwood, incense, and oud. So it has all those excellent qualities of the floral, but it really gets in rich and deep, and it's called Dead of Night for a reason. It really was meant for a date night, night fragrance, wear it in colder weather. Everything that I'm showing you here is definitely meant for colder weather. Winter is where things shine on this fragrance, or the transitional fall to winter on the cold nights of fall. So highly recommend this one, guys. And like I said, it's $795, and it sells at Lucky Scent. You can also buy the 50 ml for $475.
Oh, I am actually sitting down, so I am glad that I was sitting down for when you came out with that price. But something tells me the next one may floor me even more. But we'll wait a minute for that one.
All right, so what have you got for me, my friend?
Okay, so the last one I don't have a bottle of, unfortunately, but I have a decant of this one, and
I have the bottle. I'll show it.
Yeah, you can show the bottle. You know what's coming up. So it's my second from Nasamato. This is actually my favourite from the house, which is crazy that I've not got a bottle, but it's one that I haven't seen a good deal on. So it will be one I'll be picking up. It's Pardon. So I've got my puny little decant here, but Joe will show you the actual bottle. You're seeing it now. So I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? Magnolia and florals in the opening, dark chocolate, oud, tonka. It's got a potency, but it's smooth at the same time. I love the attitude that Pardon has. It's confident, full of attitude. It's lively. Perhaps a little on the challenging side. If someone smelled this and they weren't used to smelling strong or quite complex niche fragrances, they might think it was a little bit too much. But I will tell you that whenever I've worn this, more often than not, I've had compliments on it. I wore it recently for my my Christmas party at work, and we were all, we were on the dance floor, and everyone was in close proximity, and yeah, people were smelling it because it projects a lot. I get a good beast performance off Pardon. You don't need too many sprays.
I love it, and in fact, one of my favorite aspects of it is when it gets into this chocolatey dry down. It gets so sexy. This is a very sexy scent. And I mean, this would be in my top 5 of sexiest scents ever. I saved this one for last. I think this is quite possibly my favorite oud in this entire collection. And this was the most expensive blind buy I have ever made in my life. I'm just going to let you know this will also be featured on a separate video on my most expensive blind buys. But I'm giving you a heads up on this one right here because I'm going to talk about this very often. It's going to come up on a bunch of my videos. And guys, what I'm about to show you is a 4-digit figure oud. We're talking $1,500. And ladies and gentlemen, this comes from the House of Arabian Oud. It comes in this beautiful lacquer box that you see here. It literally weighed about 10 pounds. I'm not kidding. For those of you in Europe, that's 5 kilo. I'm going to pop this thing open and show you guys just how amazing this presentation is. This is called the Royal Oud Set. Royal Oud Set. It comes with both the attar, which is the oil at the top in that small bottle, and then it comes with this other fragrance down here. I believe it's a 90 ml, and it's down here. So this fragrance sells for $1,500 in the US. So I'm smelling it right now. I sprayed a card just to remind me of how rich this is. There is something so magical about this oud that it literally makes your eyes roll back. It's so good when you smell it. It is on a medium level when it comes to skankiness. This has got Cambodian oud, which is one of my favorite ouds, by the way, Cambodian, because it's very, I don't want to say safe, but it is, it's the most aromatic. It's also the richer of the, I think it's one of the more robust ouds out there. And this one features just 3 notes: rose, musk, and Cambodian oud. And I'm telling you, it feels like royalty when you wear it. It smells like a regal, royal person wearing it. It was designed for royalty. Sorry, hiccup. It was designed for royalty. And I'm telling you, the reason I bought this thing was when I saw the presentation, when I saw the bottles, I saw them online. Somebody was teasing them, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is that? I want this, because I'm also a big fan of the brand, like the brand Arabian Oud. So when I saw someone had teased like this opening of this box, I said to myself, I have got to see what this is all about. So I went ahead and blind bought this thing, and I know it's crazy for me to do something that crazy, but it was not a mistake. It was the most amazing blind buy I've ever made. And I'm super happy with it. So that was the top 10 between the both of us. And what did you think of the ouds that are in here? Have you tried any of the ones that are mentioned? If you have, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. And please make sure to check out Chris's channel. I really appreciate having Chris on with me here. I really thank you, Chris. Really, from the bottom of my heart, it's an honor to have you on my channel. I really, guys, make sure you subscribe to his channel. I'll leave the links down below for his channel. And also, if you like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. I'm happy either way. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video. I look forward to seeing Chris at Essence. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.